Hey everybody, it's Ben Burchard, author of the New York Times bestselling book, The Motivation Manifesto, and founder of High Performance Academy. And in this video, I want to share with you 10 factors that predict whether or not you'll be able to accomplish your goals, whether or not you'll pursue any big dream of yours, and they'll also teach you what you should be thinking about as you design a bigger vision for your life. This is all about how do you achieve that next level of success and joy and fulfillment in your life, no matter where you are now. Because you may be watching this video and your life is just completely put together. You know, you've got total clarity about who you are and where you want to go in life. You've got confidence about your social relationships and the skills that you've built up. And you have complete assurance in your mind that you're going in the right direction and everything is just going to be fine. Or you may be in a point of transition, where you're trying to kind of just figure out what the next phase is for yourself. You're trying to figure out, wow, what's my life going to be about now? What am I really going to focus on? And what do I want to experience with my life now? And the truth is, no matter where you're at in that range, I know something about you if you're watching this video. You've been dedicated to your personal growth for a long time. I'm not the first video you've probably watched on the topic of improving your life. If I can add anything unique here, it is bring a little bit more science to the idea that, you know, if you're going to seek to attain some goals in your life, we already know whether or not you're likely to attain them. We can predict some things based off cognitive theory, based off of goal attainment theories, based off a lot of what we've learned in neuroscience, positive psychology, and psychology from the last 30 years. And in these 10 factors, you're going to discover a lot of that science, and frankly, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. I've never seen a time in which so many people are struggling to figure out a sense of confidence in themselves, but also to know surely what that next level of potential and performance is for themselves. You know, a lot of people feel pretty good about today, but when you say, what's the next level for you? If we were going to 10x your life, you know, we're going to improve all areas of your life, from how you feel about yourself and your well-being, to your social relationships, to what you're doing in your career, your activities each day. If we were literally going to 10x the amount of joy and confidence and motivation, energy, fulfillment you feel from all that, what would that be like for you? What would that feel like? What would you need to do? What ideas would you have to stop pursuing? And what new habits would you have to develop? Well, that's all part of what we call the high performance conversation. It's about living a high-performance lifestyle where you feel like you're kind of, you know, rocking life on all cylinders, where everything's firing right. Your mind and your body and your career and your relationships are all in alignment to where you want to go in life and what you want to experience. Because maybe you've been experiencing a lot of struggle in these past couple of years, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of frustration, a lot of just dealing every day with major stresses and major obligations. And some days you were just wondering if you could handle it. You know, maybe a relationship ended for you and you just thought, you know, am I going to be able to handle it by myself? Or maybe you started a new career and you had to get around all these people who, you know, seemed like they had it all together and they were kind of like type A personalities, and you just thought, can I fit in here? Can I succeed in this new work environment? Some of us, just as the economy exploded, are looking around to the new rules of the economy and are wondering, like, in 5 years, will my business still be relevant? Will my skills still be relevant? And so with all these things, they've introduced a major amount of uncertainty in a lot of people's lives. And I can share with you, if they don't have the grounding and the science, the skill of high performance, of finding that magical energy within each day that gets them into their best place, that helps you live from your highest self, that helps you live in a way that you're proud of who you are, that you're energized when you engage with each and every single moment of the day, that your relationships are based around respect and joy and love, and that your activities are fulfilling, well then, if those things aren't in some kind of alignment, your life can feel like, you know, a hot mess. You know, I can share with you, that was my story at one point in my life. If you're just meeting me now for the first time, I've been very, very blessed to become one of the most followed personal development trainers of all time. Over 3 million followers on Facebook. Over 30 million people have watched my videos in this last year alone. But my journey really began a long time ago, almost 20 years ago now, when I was in a car accident. And I was sort of a frustrated, unhappy, broken-hearted young man. I was 19 years old at the time, and I had a relationship end. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when a relationship ends, you sort of fall apart with it. And that's what happened to me. This relationship fell apart, and I became depressed. I became suicidal. I didn't, see my life continuing, let alone know what I was about or what I wanted of life. And it wasn't until I had this car accident that really shook me up. And it taught me that at the end of our lives, we're all going to evaluate our life if we have a few moments of cognition at the end. I learned at the end of our lives, we're all going to ask basic questions to evaluate whether or not we were happy with our life. For me, those questions were, did I live? Was I alive and vibrant and passionate and just, joyful in my life? And then I wondered, did I love? Because you think about who you're going to miss at the end of your life, and you think about people who's going to miss you as well. And then I wondered, did I matter? Did I really make a difference in this life? And, if you ever heard my story before, I didn't like the answers to any of those questions. Did I live? No, I'd been thinking about taking my life. Did I love? No, I'd been broken so much that I didn't even feel my heart during the days. And did I matter? I was a 19-year-old kid. I didn't know anything about service and making a difference, and I didn't have this cause and this purpose that I have now. But all that came to a head that made me face my life very directly. And I hope that maybe, throughout this video series we're doing here for you, or maybe just some moments of reflection you have in your everyday life, that you start thinking about, wow, what level of potential am I living in my life? I mean, would you be happy if these were the last days? Would you feel happy and engaged and just joyous about the life you lived? Or have you kind of been ho-humming and going through the motions for maybe too long? And a lot of people, when they come to High Performance Academy, when they get sort of enrolled in my work, whether it's our YouTube videos, our Facebook things, our podcast, we hear thousands of comments per day. And in reading all those comments, and now having toured the globe with some of the biggest names in the personal development industry, having worked one-on-one with clients paying 6 figures and 7 figures just to work with me on their high performance, of getting them to the next level, whether it's a Fortune 50 CEO, an Olympic athlete, or some of the highest performing entrepreneurs and thought leaders in the world, here's what I've learned. Everybody has a big vision or desire for their life. It might not be completely clear, but everyone wants to live an extraordinary life, a high-performing life where they have a lot of clarity and energy, a high-performing life where they're moving with momentum towards the things that matter to them, a high-performing life where they actually feel like their relationships and their people skills have gotten to a level where they're very confident in social situations, and they have a lot of influence to get other people to support them on their dreams or to make a big difference in other people's lives. Everybody wants those types of things, but they struggle often with clarifying that vision for themselves. Now, you may already know exactly what you want in your life, and so here's the thing we're going to do today. I'm going to test you on these 10 factors. We're going to go into each of these 10 factors, and you're going to give yourself a rating of 1 to 10. Now, on this page, you can actually download what we call the Success Indicator Assessment, where these 10 factors are written there, and I encourage you to download it, print it out, and watch with me as I take you through it. Rather than you just filling out on your own, let me give you some more insight about the science, about some stories, about some metaphors, some different ways for you to think about each of these areas. Because even if you're not clear about what your next big goal or your next big dream is, you must think about these 10 categories. It will bring a little bit more clarity to your vision, and it will ensure that you're more likely to achieve that vision. Alternatively, if you have total clarity, or if you keep finding yourself in a place where you struggle and you keep finding, you quit that diet, or you said you're going to be a better dad, but you haven't gotten there yet, or you said, I'm going to be better at work, but you keep kind of laying off the gas once in a while, then guess what? The reason that you haven't been performing your best is, without any question in the science, within these 10 factors. So I'm going to hop over to flip chart. We're going to go through each of these 10 factors. I'll give you a little bit more color commentary around each of them to help you think about your life. So let's head on over. And as I go over here, what I want you to be thinking about in your own personal life is, what is the next big dream for you? Do you have a big goal, a big vision, something you've always wanted to achieve? Well, the very first thing you're going to have to really start thinking about in order to actually achieve that, if it's going to be real for you, the first thing we have to focus on is what we call your future identity. Future identity is everything. Can you see yourself in the future actually doing these things and becoming this type of person? That question of do you have a future identity related to your goals is everything. It's one of the number one reasons that people who set New Year's resolutions never accomplish them, because they like the idea of the new habit, but they have never actually envisioned themselves as the person who has achieved lifelong mastery of the habit. What do I mean? So if you're going to go to lose weight and you say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, that's my New Year's resolution. And a lot of people have big ambitions to lose weight, but they don't have a future identity of seeing themselves in the future 5, 10, 15, 20 years out as an absolutely energized, healthy, happy person. They really have already assumed that, you know what, I'm going to look like this forever. It's just the way I am. You know, I've been like this for the last 10 years. So even though I'm pumped up right now, I'm kind of excited about losing some weight. They think in their mind, this is who I am. This is how I am. This is the foods I eat. They don't see a significant transformation in their future self, so they don't make significant changes in their present life. This is one of the most important things. So here's what I want you to do. Think about a big goal or a big dream that you have in your life right now. And be honest, when you've been thinking about the future, have you seen yourself accomplishing that and becoming that? If you have not ever, until I said it right now, if you've never had that future identity of that's who you're going to be, and you've seen it, you've felt it, you've literally dreamt about it at night, so it was so real, it was part of you. If you never have done that, then you score a 1. 1 means you have had no sort of connection with your future identity having changed and transformed. 10, though, 10 being positive, 10 would say, you know what, I've absolutely envisioned this, Brendan. I can see myself, I've felt it, it's been real for me years. I've had this vision of myself, Brendan. You're already there, you're already 10. Now, you might be somewhere in between. 1, no future identity is that. 10, absolutely for sure. Now, you can already guess that those who have a more concrete, clear vision of their future self having accomplished that goal and living with it and feeling and sensing it, they're more likely to pursue the goal. They're more likely to overcome the obstacles. They're more likely to be resilient when stuff sucks, and they're more likely to be motivated every single Monday because they know they're living into that person who they so want to become. That is one of the most important things to evaluate yourself on. The second thing is to measure intrinsic value. What does this mean? Well, in the science of high performance, or the science of even just basically studying behavioral economics, we know that people do things if they believe they'll get a tangible result out of it. Does what I'm doing, help me achieve something? Money, success, fame, power, influence, all those things? That's extrinsic value, meaning external value. Intrinsic value means, think of this as internal value. Would you pursue this goal or this dream no matter what, just because it feels personally, internally fulfilling, that it brings you joy? You would do this as a hobby without making any money at it, without ever having anyone say, good job, without anyone ever writing you a check. Would you do it because you love it? There's a deep personal connection fulfillment. If there is, that's a 10. If you're kind of thinking of this goal or this dream because you'd impress your parents, because you'd keep up with the Joneses, because you'd get that big next check and that's the real reason, then those are external things and you don't have a lot of intrinsic joy to it, then you'd score a 1. And here's what we know from the science over and over. And I'll tell you, some of my best clients, I'm talking about major media moguls, multiple billionaires who I've been blessed to coach, work with, or advise. Here's what I've learned from them. They have an incredibly deep connection with their goals and their dreams. They find it fulfilling, and frankly, many of them were doing it before they ever made any money at it. They were pushing towards it before anyone gave them praise, before the media covered them, before the social media following came. It was just, they were like doing it because it solved a problem in their life, or they just found it to be art. They found it to be that hobby that they found so much joy from. So how much intrinsic value do you feel that you're going to get from this new future goal or dream that you have? I really encourage you throughout this video, just pause it and rate yourself and maybe ask the simple question, why? Why are you rating yourself at that level? For example, on intrinsic value, you're thinking, this would bring me a value of 4. If it's a value of 4, what would it take for you to move to a value of 10? Or maybe, what do you need to change? Because some people, frankly, they're pursuing the wrong goals. And maybe you've been there before. Maybe you pursued something for 5, 6 years and you thought, what the hell am I doing? You woke up one morning and you thought, I don't love this. What the hell am I doing with my life? If you've ever been there before, it's because in advance you weren't thinking deeply enough about the intrinsic value that things brought you. Number 3, to evaluate yourself on utility value. To evaluate your goal. Will it bring utility value? Meaning, does something change in your life that is utilitarian? Meaning, does this bring something that is tangible and real into your life, right? Pursuing a goal because it does bring you money, that's a high utility value. I do a goal, I get some money. Or maybe to try to accomplish something in your life, it's going to bring you a new skill set, a new capability that you can use. That's what utility means. It's useful to you in the now. Well, maybe you need to look at these goals or dreams that you have and just ask a simple question. Am I going to get anything tangible out of this? Because many people pursue goals that they never have any payoff, right? This is the personal payoff, but this is the life payoff. This means you're going to get things from doing this that you want, that are helpful to your life, that frankly advance your life. And it's okay to pursue things for utilitarian value, right? You might have a goal to have an incredible dream home. You're going to go pursue something because it's going to give you a better house. And with that better house, you feel like you'll sleep better. You'll have less stress. You have more fun for your family because they'll have more space to roam. All these reasons that it brings in useful things into your life to go after that goal or dream. But I know a lot of people who have a goal or dream and they pursued it for years and years and years and years and it never brought anything useful into their life. They were doing it maybe because, some of it felt good, but they never felt like anything changed. Nothing useful came into their life from it. No new relationships, no new things. And so it lost its luster. And now, often, when people don't have utilitarian value, they feel like they're just going through the motions. They don't feel like they're being rewarded for it. And at some point, they quit. So are you in that place? Is there any goal or dream you've been chasing after for a long time? You know it means something to you, but at this point, it's just not giving you any reward. Then it's time to look at, well, what could you do to generate some of those rewards? What would need to shift for you to get some more attention on that, for you to get a little bit more payoff on that singular item? Next category, good to measure for your goals, is opportunity cost. Everybody messes this one up. Everybody. I've never met anybody, not with one single exception, who didn't mess up this category. Meaning they never thought about, if I pursued this goal over here, well, then it costs me the opportunity to pursue this one over here. And because they never thought about that, often internally they have there's like these competing interests going on. And so they get sort of polarized or stuck in life because they're not really sure, if I go after this, it might cost me too much over here. In psychology, we call it loss pain. I'm scared if I try this new thing, I'll lose these things I love over here. For example, you may want the next level of, let's say, career success in your life. But you've never really pursued it because in your mind, you believe there'll be too much of a cost on your family relationships. Well, if I could go after my dreams, but it takes so much time away from the kids. Or you say, you know what, I could really start this new habit, but it'll take away joy from these other things. So we have to be very diligent if we're going to have a big vision in our life of thinking through, well, if I go after that, what might my mind tell me I'm going to lose? What might it cost me to pursue that? Because a lot of people, they get in their first, second, third, fourth year of their new business or their new venture or their new relationship. And all of a sudden they feel like, God, I put all in over here, but I never thought it's cost me all these things over here. My health is wrecked. My relationships are wrecked. or my friendships are wrecked, or my daily reality is wrecked because now the agenda that I'm living isn't even mine. I have all these obligations to everybody else, and now I have no free time. My cost was my free time, my joy, my longer lunches, my days of sleeping in are all gone because I pursued this thing without ever thinking, will it cost me something? So you have to think about that as well as you plan this next big dream or vision of your life. The fifth thing to think about is what we call delay time. This might be one of the most tactical, simple reasons why people quit pursuing a dream. There's too much delay in the amount of time in which they start the goal to which they receive a reward, right? They say, oh my gosh, Brendan, I could start my own business, but I'm not going to make any money for 3 years. So in their mind, the goal of starting a business is something they never begin because they say in their mind, it will take too long to get paid, right? Or they say, you know what, I'm not going to leave this horrible relationship because I'm going to be lonely for years. They believe there's going to be a big delay between the time they quit a bad relationship and they find a good one, and they think they're going to be miserable in that amount of time. So the delay time for a payoff of the decision is too long, so they won't do it. So think about the goal that you're going to pursue or dream. How long is it going to take for it to pay off for you? For where you feel like it's successful, where you feel like it's engaging and fun and joyful, fulfilling. How long? It tends to be, if people think the delay, the payoff is going to be 3 years out or longer, they won't even try. They won't even try. See, a lot of us think, I'm going to plan my business. I'm going to plan some new thing, and it's going to be I'm going to create a 3-year goal, a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal, a 20-year goal. But it's hard to look out at that 20 years and think, gosh, it's going to be worth it. That 20-year payoff better be huge, right? But for a lot of people, it isn't. They can't really see themselves or their life changing that much over that period of time, so they quit. So you've got to have what we call quick wins. You've got to see a quick win coming 3 months out, 6 months out, 9 months out, 12 months out, 18 months out, 24 months out. Those payoffs, you've got to be able to think, will this goal, can I set up this goal or this dream so that at least I have some sort of marks, some dates in which I feel like I'm going to be winning? Because if you don't feel like you're winning a little bit, then that delay feels longer and longer and longer, and you quit. A lot of great people who could make a great difference in the world never began because they thought, it's never going to work out, right? It's never going to work out. What have you said that about in your life? It's never going to work out for me. Because I guarantee where you can find that phrase, it's never going to work out, I can guarantee you stopped. You quit. You didn't begin. But remember, that's just a mental trick. Your mind is making an assumption there that may or may not be true. Has anyone ever done it, what you're trying to do, and got a payoff early? Has anyone ever tried what you're doing and things did turn around for them? It did work out for them. I guarantee the answer is yes. There's so many people out there who've changed their life dramatically and good things came in very quickly for them. So don't get in this stuck belief that it's never going to turn out. This one is poison for people. But think about this goal or dream you've been pursuing. If you haven't been fully invested in it, partially might be because your mind is saying, not going to work out. So let me pause. We're about halfway through here. I hope you have downloaded. I hope you're thinking about a big dream or vision you're going after. And I hope you're rating yourself as I'm going through these and just letting my voice continue to make you think of new angles to look at these goals and dreams. Because what we found is if you'll think through all these things in shaping your vision for your life next year, or your life 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, if you'll think through these things and you'll plan for them, and you'll just give a lot of, sort of executional discipline. I know that's a big phrase, but if you'll say, okay, how can I start seeing myself? Can I sit and meditate and envision myself every morning? How can I make sure I enjoy this process? How can I make sure I know what I'm going to get out of it? How can I make sure it doesn't take away from things I care about? How can I make sure that it doesn't take too long to get the payoff? If you ask those types of questions, you'll have more motivation as you seek these dreams. Number 6, let's move on, is personal control. Do you feel like you're going to have the amount of personal control to actually affect this change, this goal, this dream? See, a lot of people have a big dream, but they say, you know what? Stupid politics. There's nothing I can do. They say, you know what? My boss will never let me try that idea at work because, you know, he'll never give me permission for that. They say, you know what? I've tried to lose weight before. I can't do it on my own, and I can't afford a trainer. I can't afford a personal chef, so I can't control the outcome here. If you don't believe you can control the outcome, what obviously psychologists have called in the past locus of control, where they call it personal agency, where you feel like you're a causal agent, they say, you know, where you feel like, look, I'm in command here. I can make this happen. If you don't feel like you can make it happen, you won't begin. So think about this goal. Do you really feel like you can personally move the needle, push the dials to make this happen? If you don't, then it's less likely that you're going to be committed to it, because you're going to think, you know, outside forces. Oh, you know, well, faith, you know, fate. You know what? I can't control this. You know who controls this? A bunch of old rich white guys, and I can't control it, right? It's easy to blame. It's easy to say, well, they wouldn't let me do this. They wouldn't allow me. The institution, the process won't allow me to win. There's a glass ceiling. There's things I can't control. The more you believe there's things you can't control, not that you can control everything, but if you don't believe that you can significantly control things, you won't begin. So 1 means you don't have any control. 10 means you absolutely feel in command. Where are you in the rating of this one? 7th, social support. What a huge one, right? If you have a big goal or dream, but you think your spouse is not going to support you, you're not as enthusiastic about it. If you have a big goal or dream at work and you just know your coworkers are going to make fun of you and call you an idiot, you're less likely to pipe up and share, like, hey guys, I got this great idea. If you absolutely know without a question that what you want to do in your next phase of your business is brilliant, but your employees are going to say, I don't want to do that. It's harder to push that goal over the line if you don't feel like the people around you, your family, your friends, your coworkers, your immediate friendship circle or peer group, if they're not going to support you, you're less likely to champion the cause. Isn't that true? Think about how many things in your life you didn't begin because you feared rejection, right? Rejection is a part of this. If you feel like you're just going to be rejected and people are going to make fun of you and they're going to say, no way, that's stupid, what a dumb idea, you're not good enough, you can't do this, then you're probably a 1 on this scale. But if you really believe people will cheer you on, you've got support, you've got a mentor, you've got a lover, you've got somebody who's just going to love this idea and support and champion the whole time, then you're at a 10. And that's a big difference. And part of setting up great goals is setting up social support. You want to lose some weight? Then great. Find a peer group who to go to work out with. If you're going there and you're going to see them and you're going to have social support, you're at a class, you see the same girls every single time, you see the same friends every single time, you're more likely to go, and we know that without a question. And so you have to set up a peers group that's supporting you and cheering you on. And people always say that, well, Brendan, you don't understand. I'm in this community or these people around me and they're all negative and they're all asses. And maybe that's true. And your job isn't just to get rid of everybody, right? Maybe you have a spouse right now who's negative or a partner who's negative for this one big dream you have. Life isn't about throwing away people who we care about and love just because they don't support every idea we have. But life is about building a tribe around our goals, dreams, and ideas. So even if you don't have that circle right now, the goal is to reach full high performance, start building that circle. I didn't know anyone doing videos like this. I mean, you think about it, we've been doing $1 million online courses since 2008 and 2009. And there weren't a big community of people doing online courses. So I started searching out people who were doing video, who were doing online marketing. I didn't know anybody who did this at all. I knew nobody who did this. So I started going to conferences to meet them and say, oh, you do this? How do you do it? I started enrolling in products or communities where I could find people who were doing the very thing I wanted to do. And once I got around them, I thought, this is possible. And I went from 1, where I came from, this was not possible, to 10. I saw so many examples of new people doing it. I thought, I can do this. That was my social support going up. And you need to set up great social support if you're ever going to achieve significant dreams and visions. Number 8, bandwidth belief. Bandwidth. Have you ever found yourself saying, gosh, I'd love to go do that big dream, but I just don't have the time. You know, my plate is already full. It's probably full of junk, but you know, lots of people, yeah, that's full. I'm so busy. I don't have 1 ounce of time. And the reality is people have a lot more time than they think they do, but because they think they have no time, they start scratching off their dreams and sort of scratching off their distractions. See, if you think you have no time at all to pursue this new goal, you're at a 1, and there's no question, you won't begin. Matter of fact, if you do begin and it becomes too overwhelming, you'll stop very quickly. A lot of people, just in their first 3, 4, 5 weeks pursuing a goal, they'll stop. You ever hit the end of February at New Year's, right? New Year's hits, you have these big resolutions, but within, 2 months, you've quit because you just, I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to go pursue these new dreams because I'm busy at work. And so our belief about how much time, how much bandwidth, right, that means how much can we handle. Well, if we don't think we have a lot, we won't do anything. But here, let me share something very common with you. The average American, just here in North America, is watching 4 hours of television a day. 4 hours of television. 4 hours of television over the average adult lifespan means that they're about 13 years that they sit in front of the boob tube. So they're watching television for 13 years of their total life over the average lifespan here in the United States. 13, that's over a decade. People have a lot more time than they think they do, but they're doing dumb stuff. They're like 7 hours in their, Twitter stream, and then Facebook over here, then Instagram over here. They're not doing educational things like you're doing, so I want to champion you. You're here doing something that's helping you think about your life, and I can't do anything but just champion and recognize you for that. But a lot of people, they're paying attention to so much frivolous stuff. If they stole back that attention and they gave it to the things that they found meaningful, their career, their relationships, their personal development, their health, their well-being, they discover they have a lot more bandwidth than they believe. So on this one, if you have a big goal or dream, one of the best things you can do as a personal assessment is sit down and say, where do I actually spend my time each day? And where could I get 30 minutes or an hour back every single day? Because if you got that much time back, could you imagine? Think about what you could do if you had just even 7 hours more a week. 7 hours more a week. You could change your life, you could change your future. You could use that time to learn anything, any new topic you want, master any new skill that you want. Just 7 hours, 1 hour a day. If you had more to apply to a new skill, if you had to apply to your learning, you had to apply to a new practice, a new health practice as an example, a new time to prepare your food better, a new time to have better connections with your family. That 1 hour a day could change your life forever. And I've never met anybody, including my highest performing clients, mega athletes, mega celebrities, guess what? We can get an hour back a day. We really can. We got to stop them doing the frivolous stuff that kind of feels good, from simple of like reading dumb, trashy magazines or following a bunch of links on the internet that don't lead to their personal well-being or growth, to planning their morning better so they achieve more in the afternoon. All these little things are about getting more bandwidth back. The more time you have and the more time freedom you sense in your life, the more you'll pursue things that are meaningful to you. Number 9, resource availability. Do you have the resources you need? The assets, the money, the support from other human beings to actually be able to accomplish this goal or dream? In organizations, this one obviously is one of the main reasons people don't achieve more on their teams. They say, we don't have the budget. We don't have the head count. We don't have enough employees or team to support this. Entrepreneurs do the same thing. Well, I do that, but I don't own a building. I don't have a team. I don't have any money. And so what we do is we stop being resourceful and we start blaming what we don't have. And we think, I don't have this list, so I can't pursue sharing my personal brand. I don't have a following, so I don't begin. I don't have the technical architecture, the technical skills, so I don't begin. And all these excuses we start making up because we don't have the resources to do it, either the internal resources or the external resources, so we stop. So here's the question. How could you start gathering the resources? How could you start gathering the team, even informally, to move towards your goal? Maybe you don't actually hire the people. Maybe you just Go to lunch with them, ask them some questions, start getting in that conversation with people so that when you do have some assets, you can hire them. Or maybe it means just saving a little bit, you know? What if you just took one less Starbucks trip every other day? And you started putting away that $3, $4, $5, sometimes $8, you know? You start putting away the money and you just start storing it up. You know, it doesn't take very much money. Store it up over a period of days, weeks, months, and years for you to have a significant cash investment, let alone if you invested that in anything. Now, high performers always know that. They're always looking for what we call leverage, you know, the ability to take a little bit and make a lot out of it. Well, a lot of that happens from just beginning earlier to save, beginning earlier to invest, beginning earlier to start the conversations with potential team members so that when the time is hot, boom, you're ready. So think about how you can gather the resources now to achieve those goals. Last one, guys. I know this has been a lot, so I want to just champion you, if you're still here, rating yourself, continuing this conversation, because we know without question that all of these things significantly impact whether or not you'll try something. And this last one is vital, and that is, do you feel like you'll have the autonomy to pursue this goal or dream? Fancy word, right? What does autonomy mean? It means that you'll have the permission and the trust to go do it. So if you're working for somebody, as an example, do you feel like, you know, they'll give you full decision-making authority and they'll give you the trust to go try it, that independently you can go make this happen? Do you feel like if you're in a relationship that your spouse will say, you know what, honey, I trust you. You know, you have access to the bank account. You have access to anything you need from me. Go make it happen. Go forth, young woman. Go forth, young man, and conquer. Do you have the trust of the people around you so that you feel, you know what, I'm allowed to make some decisions here? Because a lot of people, because you know their family set up, because how their work is set up, or how the community is set up, they think, I can't do this. You know, their community says you need to get permission, so they never begin. Their spouse says, you know what, I don't trust you, so they don't have like just that knowledge. I can get up and start just knocking away at my life's goals, so they don't ever begin. So how can you increase the amount of independence that you have now as you're pursuing the bigger goals and dreams? And you know how it begins? Small steps. You know, if you need your spouse or your partner in line with you, small steps. Just say, honey, I'm going to try this. What do you think about this idea? Have a conversation about it and go win. Do good at it. And then come back and celebrate. Honey, remember we talked about this and you had these good ideas? You shared some of these things. I did them. And look, it worked out well. And they go, huh, good for you. Do another one like that. Honey, can we talk about this? Talk about it. You put it into play. It works out well. Honey, look, this turned out well. You get a little momentum like that, anybody will support you. The best way to get more decision-making authority, more trust from anybody, is to win with them. Let them see it, right? Sometimes you never get more believers than when you get momentum. So start getting momentum towards them, the small little steps, and celebrate them. Even if it's just like, hey, honey, remember I was telling you about that plan for me to start a new business? Yeah, gosh, look, I went and I learned how to do a business plan. I did one. Would you review it with me? I know it's silly, but would you check it out? So that she or he sees progress. When people see progress, they start to find faith. And that's very, very important. Do you have progress towards what you're doing? Now, I know this was a long video, but I hope it supported you in just thinking about some things for you to achieve even more. A lot of people lie to themselves and they say, you know, Brendan, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to plan out my future. And they plan and they plan and they plan. They plan all the steps that they need to accomplish. But sometimes planning isn't that useful if it's all about tactical and not about the mental. A lot about this is not only about mental preparation, it's also about tactical preparation. Little things you can do to gather momentum, to gather more trust in yourself from other people. But at the end of the day, planning doesn't work if psychology is not involved. So sit and think about this. One of the number one things that high performers know is that I got to get my mind right. I've got to think through these goals and dreams deeply, intelligently, consistently for a long period of time if I'm ever going to have real clarity and energy behind it. So if you found, as I'm going through this, if there's any goals that you've been laying off on in your life, that you have not been pursuing with full energy, motivation, vitality, strength, confidence, I promise you somewhere in this video, lied the problem. It's all here. You can find the answer here. You can line the problems here. So use this worksheet. Download it. Revisit it. I encourage you to revisit every single day for the next 5 days just to keep getting your mind back into the game about what's important to you and what you can accomplish. You can have a high-performing life. In my next video, I'll share with you how you can increase your productivity every single week by 30%. Imagine if you increased your personal effectiveness by 30% every single week, how much faster you would achieve your dreams. Well, that'll be in my next video in this High Performance Academy free series. I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing your comments right down beneath this video. I'll be in here personally responding to a bunch, so post any comments or questions you have from this video. I hope it served you. I look forward to seeing you in that next video. Until then, go out there every single day of your life. Know that you can perform at your best if you just decide to. Put full effort at everything you love in life and toward everyone you love in your life, and high performance will be yours. Until then, again, go out there every single day of your life, live fully, love openly, and make your difference today.